Dear President Oliver.
Dear President Oliver.
Dear President Oliver.
Dear President Oliver and Union Administration.
We are alumni and former students of Union University.
While our identities and our beliefs are, and our experiences at Union were diverse, we are united in the belief that LGBT plus people are worthy of love, respect, and dignity. Some of us were psychologically, emotionally, and spiritually hurt by the way that Union responded to our sexuality.
And
all of us know someone who was hurt by the way that Union responded to their sexuality.
Those of us who are Christians believe that God calls his people.
Believe that God calls his people
To love and minister.
To love and minister.
To love and minister to LGBT plus individuals. And most of us believe that means full acceptance, affirmation, and inclusion.
We pray that over time, Union's heart will change.
Union's heart will change.
Our most immediate concern in writing this letter, though, is the well-being of LGBT plus and questioning students on Union's campus.
Out of that concern, we suggest a few policy changes that we believe would lessen the risk of depression,
anxiety,
suicide,
trauma,
and sexual violence
for current students at Union University.
1. Admit students regardless of sexual orientation or gender identity.
We've been told by members of the Union community that students can choose whether or not to attend Union, and that choosing to attend is choosing to agree with Union's point of view. Our experience suggests that it is not that simple.
While traditional students enter university at the beginning of adulthood and with a newfound independence, most grow and change in many ways during their college years. Still others, because of parental pressure or lack of financial independence, have limited freedom to choose college with which they philosophically and theologically agree. Furthermore, we find hypocritical an admissions process that openly will admit non-Christians, yet states that the university's faith is too important to admit many who confess faith but interpret the Bible differently from them.
We believe that the best solution is to no longer use sexual orientation or gender identity as part of the admissions decision process.
Number 2, change disciplinary practices for issues related to sexuality.
Students at Union University have been required to go to therapy, sometimes with organizations that the students identify as conversion therapy, while others have been expelled for otherwise legal behavior that did not align with Union's sexual ethics.
Some have experienced disciplinary measures simply because of rumors or reports about their sexuality or sexual activity. Alumni's collective experience suggests that forced therapy and fear of expulsion do not lead to changes in orientation or sexual activity, and instead are likely to cause resistance at best and trauma at worst.
While we do not support any penalization of students for their sexual orientation, and many of us find penalizing sexual behavior regardless of orientation to be counterproductive, we at least ask Union to consider alternative and less harmful ways of addressing sexual behavior that does not align with Union's expectations.
3. Support free speech on campus and in the classroom. We believe that honest consideration of alternative points of view is an essential element of learning, especially in a liberal arts context. Yet, many of us felt like our points of view were discouraged or even derided in some classrooms, or that things we said on campus could lead to scrutiny or even disciplinary action. We are also aware of times when pro-LGBT plus organizations asked for permission to meet with Union leadership or hold events on campus and were denied. At least once, students were also formally discouraged from connecting with an organization off campus.
We are thankful for those professors and staff members who supported our free speech, but especially for LGBT plus topics. We ask for a formal free speech policy.
And number 4, practice transparency around reports of sexual assault on campus.
We ask that you make records of reports publicly available, protecting the anonymity of all parties, and explicitly direct students and families to where they can find this information.
We also ask that you formally guarantee to students that reporting sexual harassment or assault will not lead to inquiries about their sexual activity or identity.
LGBT individuals are statistically more likely to experience sexual violence, and it's important that unions' policies not discourage them from reporting it.
We
We believe that
these
these changes are reasonable
reasonable
for a Southern
Southern
Baptist
Baptist
university.
Other conservative evangelical universities have taken similar steps in recent years. The Converge denomination, formerly the Baptist General Conference, claims heterosexuality as God's design and homosexuality as sin, yet Bethel University in Minnesota still has a campus ministry for LGBTQ plus students, which helps individuals and the Bethel community better navigate how to treat all people with respect while engaging areas of disagreement, and does not determine or create a theological statement, even as they commit to not seeking to establish, undermine, or change university policy.
Calvin College of the Christian Reformed Church denomination has a position towards LGBT plus identities which is similarly conservative, but it is simultaneously committing itself to providing practical support, like single-stall restrooms for transgender students, discrimination reporting, safer spaces policies, and a robust support system for LGBT plus folks.
Trinity Western University, British Columbia, has made its community covenant optional for students. While that decision was in part a response to the Supreme Court decision, we commend their language,
which states that they want to ensure that TWU continues as a thriving community of Christian believers who clearly demonstrate that we are a welcoming environment for students from all perspectives who wish to learn from a Christian viewpoint and underlying philosophy.
Even Baylor University, Texas, recently has committed to allowing free speech, providing support groups, and protecting LGBT plus students from disciplinary action and loss of financial aid.
We support
these decisions made by other evangelical universities as additional changes the union might consider.
We also
believe that despite our differences, we and most faculty, staff, and administration at Union University want to keep Union students physically and psychologically safe and healthy.
We would therefore ask Union to consider what it can reasonably change to ensure the safety and health.
And we believe the suggestions outlined above are a good place to start.
We also hope that this letter can be the beginning of a connection and ongoing communication between LGBT plus, supporting alumni, and Union University.
Sincerely, Union University alumni,
Union University alumni,
Union University alumni,
and former
and former
students.
students.
Thank you.